Arsenal fan Lucy Casey is with us to discuss. Hello, superstar.
Hey, girl.
How are you?
I'm good.
You have got a number of exciting things going on at the minute. Firstly, tell us about your graduation from University of Life, aka Google Pixel Academy.
Oh, wow. Where do we even start? Like, that was a crazy experience. I mean, I feel like every day I'd come into work and I was like, oh, we've just done this. I've met some Arsenal players. Like, it was cool. It was pretty much everything in the industry. So then when I'm sat in chairs like this, spaces like this, I'm like, oh, okay. I sort of roughly know what to do. But it's the thing for me that I think I emphasised a lot with basically every post I made, everyone I was talking to is literally the girlhood. Like, I think I mentioned that to you, like one of the mornings. I was like, I love that girlhood because it's quite rare to find in this industry, sadly. So yeah, that's nice.
These people who you met along the way, all of you who went through this kind of journey and experience together.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you learned and what the beauty of this project was.
I think we all, like all 12, because there was 12 participants, I think all 12 of us found who we were, or we're closer to finding. Like, I feel like I know roughly what I want to go into in the industry now, and it's pretty much open. Like, I think we went behind the scenes at ITV, BBC, then we were in front of the cameras at 90 Min. We did a bit of everything. And it was nice to see, in particular, a couple of the girls who started off, they're like, I don't want to do presenting, I don't want to be in front of the camera. Yeah. And towards the end, they were like, right, give me the mic, like I'm going forwards. And it's just nice to see that growth. So
that confidence that it gives you as well. And you worked with like Karen Carney on this journey as well, and the Kimita twins. Like, there was it seemed like a good squad, man. I wish I got the invite to the University of Google.
Should have +1'd you.
Next time.
Yeah, next time. Well, I'm hoping it's a future cohorts will happen as well, like future programmes, because Molly and Rose, what they've created with the Powerhouse Project it's just something that everyone needs, especially every girl getting into the industry. I think because they've been players, they've been coaches, have done media presenting, they've done it all, so they know what you need and the gaps. So what they've created is so good, and I'm hoping there'll be future programmes.
And their point is to make sure that others are educated should they want to go down this path and go into this space. And it's something that you don't often learn too much about. I mean, the amount of people, you'll get this as well, who reach out, say on social media, looking for that guidance and for that advice. But one thing I always go back to them and say is, well, if you want to do this, you can start now. You know, but I think then being around people who give you that confidence, you all start doing it together. Therefore, I don't know, it's a bit more enjoyable and less, sometimes I would say, embarrassment when there's a group of people doing it together.
I think the embarrassment definitely comes from social media. Like, I don't know if you were the same, but like, as in, for me, when I set up Instagram, I suddenly was like, oh, okay, like, people are going to comment, people are going to see, people that your friends are seeing this, and then it's like, oh, actually, I'm not going to like this, but I'll just say in person, like, that's cool. And it's, you find out your people real quick, and you find out what you like doing as well, very quick as well. So it's quite nice to navigate in that way. But for me, I was at uni, I was like, you know what, let me just make the jump. Let me just post a video. And I think it was something like when Declan Rice was signing for Arsenal a couple of years ago, and I was like, yeah, let me just post it and I'll see. And then slowly over time, I found more of an authentic voice, because you sort of copy these other influencers and then you slowly figure out, okay, I want to talk about this, or I want to talk like that. So
good for you.
Good. Yeah,
I love that.
Cool.
And you know, you're a good person. You know, I get to see you in the mornings, and we always call it therapy, don't we? And it's like, it's early, man. It's 3:45 that we have therapy. So yeah, no, that is I'm pleased for you, and I'm pleased that you've been part of the programme, and everyone that you've met along the way. I think it'll just make the industry a better place to be for everyone. Let's talk about your club then, Arsenal, because we were chatting quite a bit going up to obviously the final, and I was like, Lucy, man,
you were doubting the whole time.
Whatever you're on the moon, because it ain't happening.
I was so positive, but no.
Apart from the week before, then I changed my mind.
You were like, oh, actually, and I was like, no, let's not backtrack now.
Maybe.
I think there was just something in it. I was like, no, like, I had a gut feeling every morning. I was like, actually, we might do this. Like, should I buy tickets? Should I not? Left it a bit late, and they were quite expensive when I actually.
That's fine.
Yeah. When I got around to wanting to do that, but I was like, oh, we actually might do this. So,
how do you think it's going to affect now the Arsenal team going forward, and another positive step for them? I mean, the attendance is 415,000 tickets sold at the Emirates last year for the Arsenal women's games that were there in the league, the 9 games that took place. It's now going to be the 11 home games that take place at the Emirates. It's another step, more eyes on the game, more youngsters coming through wanting to see these heroes.
Yeah, I think the vibe, like at both the parade and I went to the Emirates for the final, it just felt like a family. Like, I know that sounds quite cringy, quite cliche.
It's cringy. Arsenal fans are cringy.
A little family. But no, it genuinely felt like that. And I think growing up, when I started watching Arsenal when I was 10, there was about, 50 people to 100 at Meadow Park, and you'd have them sort of spread out. Like me and my dad would be up in this corner, you might have someone's parent of a player, like just spread out. And then suddenly I was stood there, I had actual goosebumps. I'm quite an emotional person, got quite big emotions. And then I was just sat there like, oh, okay, this is actually happening. Everyone here is chanting these players' names. Every player has their own chant. I think that's one thing that makes Arsenal so unique. Like you could literally, I don't know, say anyone's name and suddenly you've got a whole crowd of people singing and dancing. So I think it's about maintaining it now, because we've set those records the last few seasons, but because we're getting more and more games at the Emirates, we're able to maintain those crowds of people. Oh, you actually can come. If you live here, just pop in, or if you support the men's team, just come over. Whereas Meadow Park is a bit limiting for Arsenal. Like I haven't been able to go there recently because I think it's quite hard to get tickets.
Yeah.
Not too many, so.
I mean, that's the thing. I know Arsenal from Meadow Park. Like being 17 maybe, going to my first Arsenal game was Meadow Park, and there was 10 others. You were able to count, you know, the amount of people who were there.
Yeah.
You know, on your two hands, it was like that. So where it grew from there, and I feel this is where the secret to Arsenal's success at the Emirates is the fact that they've just steadily built this fan base over time. They've given the players the love. They've been that club from the beginning, haven't they, that have really taken ownership and shone a light on their women's team. Therefore, the fans have come to support that as well. They're giving them a good team to support. And actually, I just want to take a minute now for those of you in the North Bank who will no longer be able to, you know, sing in the league games at home at Meadow Park. They're such a huge part as to where Arsenal fan base is today, you know, and I don't know who they are individually, but I always find myself there smiling, you know, thinking, no, they're just, you know, make
I feel like a big bunch of them definitely be part of the supporters club. And that's obviously what Farah runs, and she's done an amazing job. Like the work she does behind the scenes is crazy. Like I'm lucky enough to be one of her friends, so it's just nice to see all the hard work and how it's actually paying off, because she was navigating, and obviously she's got a team behind her, navigating Lisbon as well as then the Emirates and then all the pubs as well, just making sure that everyone's included. And I think when you've got someone at the top that's doing that, and then there's songbooks as well that go around, and obviously that's what creates that atmosphere at the North Bank.
I met Farah at the Trophy Parade day, and she was telling me about her work in the Sports Trust, and I was like, it's people like that, you know, who,
honestly,
you know, the win means even more to, you know, absolutely everything too. And you could tell that from the emotions and the kind of the person that you were speaking to there on the day. But what this means now for the Emirates moving forward is that it's that chance to grow again, push again, and what we are seeing mostly from women's football and now from youngsters in the men's game as well, that you're following these individuals, you know, and with the amount of incredible individuals that are at Arsenal, not only a brilliant team, some of the individual players there, wherever they go, they would take an audience with them, you know.
So true.
The players that come to Arsenal now, this summer, are, I think, next level players. I won't be shocked if we see a BONMATI. I won't be shocked.
Can we manifest that? Because
manifest
honestly,
away. You manifested the Champions League win, and I thought you were off your marbles, so go for it.
Well, yeah, BONMATI, no, please, just praying to anyone. Because honestly, I think this summer, what Arsenal did, is they really capitalised on the Euros, they capitalised on the FIFA World Cup with the players there, because I think there were so many players from different clubs, but you had Beth Mead, Leah Williamson for the Euros, and that drew a whole new crowd. And I know so many Arsenal fans that I was stood with at Lisbon, and I was like, oh, like, how long have you been supporting Arsenal for? It was just nice to find out their journeys. And most of them were saying since the Euros. And then I'm hoping this summer, we've obviously got Williamson, but we've also got some lonely players, like obviously Adjumang, who's, I'm so excited about her journey. And she's obviously so young as well, so she could almost be the rotating player that changes the game, like how Russo did. And obviously we've got Russo. We've got so many players in there. Chloe Kelly, we're claiming her as ours right now. So like we've got a lot that I'm thinking if we can capitalise as a club on these players and really put it out there on social media and really get the crowds going, then we can maintain the attendance.
And you're right about that, and capitalising from the World Cup as well. And Arsenal, I guess, were ahead of their journey for that. You know, Steph Catley, who's been an absolute rock this season for Arsenal, to captain the Matildas on home soil for the Women's World Cup, you know, to be an Arsenal player brings in new audiences, brings in new eyes. Same with the number of Australian players who represent Arsenal. Same with McCabe, Republic of Ireland, you know, to be a player that takes your country to their first international tournament, also being an Arsenal player. You're right, they have, is that the secret? Is that the key to their success?
Yeah, the players, like what you were saying, people are now attracted to the players. They're now drawn to watching the games because of the players. You have people that support Manchester United, but then they're like, oh, actually, I like Russo, she's gone to Arsenal, let me change my club. Like, people are now supporting the players themselves rather than necessarily the whole club, because with the women's game, because it's maybe newer for certain teams, obviously like United, Spurs, you sort of have fans that maybe growing up they supported a different club because of their family, and then they're like, I want to support the women's team who looks good, like in terms of how they're playing, who's I don't know, who do I want to be? And you look and it's literally Arsenal everywhere.
See it, believe
could
it.
be biased, but
I think she's an Arsenal fan.
Maybe.
And also, it's not completely goodbye to Meadow Park, because the Champions League group stage games will be played there as well. Which, to be fair, I don't think I'm ready to completely say goodbye to it. But when you do look at the Champions League numbers at the Emirates, they haven't matched what the league games have been then, say, on the weekend. So I think those Wednesday night games at Meadow Park, you know, I was at a number of them in the lead up to when they won Group C before Christmas. That was a proper atmosphere, you know, and I think that gave them the edge over Bayern in that last group stage game. Kind of thing was the fan base, the attendance behind them. A sold out Meadow Park is also a rocking atmosphere.
Yeah, it sounds weird, but I actually, like, my favourite stadium of all time is Meadow Park. I think maybe it's because when I was
the coldest place I've ever been.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got to wrap up warm, but when there's bodies in there, like, you get that little penguin heat. But I think maybe because when I was 10, that's where I actually fell in love with Arsenal. But also because the atmosphere isn't quite matched. Like, I don't think I've been to another stadium in the WSL and felt how you feel when you're in Meadow Park, because the voice is so loud. But that's why I'm hoping over time we can maintain that attendance, also grow it a little bit, so then we actually have like a sellout Emirates week on week. So give that a few seasons and hopefully we'll be there.
Do you know what? It's just because you'd mentioned Farah from the Supporters Trust as well. Somebody who I really want to mention today is Yannick Pippin, who works at Arsenal, who's part of the liaison staff, and I remember seeing him at the Emirates a few years ago now. It would have been the Wolfsburg game, the second leg on the bank holiday Monday.
Nice.
And it was huge. It was a huge night at the Emirates. Unfortunately, they did lose that game. And him and Jackie then saying, if we keep doing this, just imagine every game we will be having to put on these games at the Emirates. And it takes a team like that who believe and who make it happen as well. And they're unbelievably lovely and kind and friendly and do the absolute best at the club. You know, they front it in such an incredibly good way as well. People like that also getting the job done, fair play to them. So here we go then. Next season, don't be bottling it in the league with me, Lucy. Don't be giving it, oh yeah, well, we've still got another 3 trophies to win. Like, what's happening in the league?
What's going to happen in the league? Well, I mean, we've got Chelsea against us, and obviously they've just done the treble, so they are big competitors. But I think when you look at it, last season, I'd rather have the European trophy over any other trophy. And now we've got this trophy, we might actually be able to push on and not get complacent. We've got Slagers from the start, and that's going to be so key, because last season there was so much rivalry, even within the own fan base of, oh, should he stay, should he not? And then there was obviously the writing like Jonas out, which I kind of liked how it was getting that passionate in the women's game, but also I was like, I don't want any hate to be directed just towards one person, but he rightfully went, and having Slagers from the get-go, I think we actually will be able to push it. I don't want to be delusional. You're looking at me and I'm like,
no, I'm all ears. No, listen.
Yeah, I mean, you're all ears for the Champions League, so you know you've got to be all ears for this. But I'm hoping. Yeah,
you need to see that challenge from early on next season. I think it'll be an interesting summer. I won't be surprised if Chloe Kelly is wrapped up, done and dusted, and an Arsenal player. I think she should be. I thought that was an incredible move in the end. It worked out so perfectly well for her.
She made it clear at the parade as well. Like how she was talking, we were all like, okay.
Yeah. Like
there was a feeling like, yeah, we've got Chloe Kelly now.
Yeah. Mariona Caldente, player of the season for Arsenal. Can she maintain next season? Maybe another little cheeky big buy, and Chelsea might be quaking in their boots come next season. But then again, they did win a domestic treble. Listen, it just makes everything so much more appetising for next season. All ears about it. Can you win the league?
Yes. Yes, we can.
I'll come back to you. About a year from now.
Let's maybe cut that out just in case.
Arsenal fan and broadcaster Lucy Casey, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
It was nice to speak to you as ever.